The trades are dying. For my day job as an engineer, I travel to manufacturing facilities all across this country. I once had a shop foreman tell me that a few decades ago when we started to make the switch to computer-controlled machining, all the old graybeards were giving him ultimatums. They were saying let them stay on their manual machines and away from the newfangled computer stuff, or they were leaving. At the same time, this company was also struggling to hire anyone from the newer generation who may actually be interested in learning on these computer-controlled machines. There just weren't that many graduates from CNC programs from the younger generation. Another time I was talking with the VP of this company that had mills and lathes that were so large that in order to fixture parts on them, you had to walk around on the bed. These machines were so big that you weren't removing chips with a toothbrush like I do here in my garage. You were removing chips with a snow shovel. Somehow, at this massive US manufacturing plant, their production lines weren't running at full capacity. He told me it was a staffing issue, and I assumed that he meant he couldn't hire engineers. When I told him that, he laughed and said, no, it wasn't engineers, they were easy to hire. The thing that was hard to hire was CNC operators. They only had a couple good CNC operators, and that wasn't nearly enough for this massive facility. There are a lot of factors that I think contribute to the shortage of work in the trades, and many of them are out of our control. But I think you have to do what you can and damn the rest. Before I was an engineer, I was a mechanic, and I had some experiences in college and high school that I think were pretty emblematic of what I think the problem is. I think there are things that we can do that can stop this brain drain on the trades. Let me tell you about my experiences that I think illustrate part of the problem and how we can fix it. When I got my first car in high school, I was working part-time and most of my paycheck was going towards just putting gas in the thing. I knew that if anything broke on it, I wasn't going to be able to afford to take it to a shop and have someone fix it for me, so I figured I ought to learn how to be able to fix it myself. I didn't know anything about automotives. It was a brand new world for me, and when I signed up for my high school auto course, I walked into the classroom knowing less than anyone else in that room. Most of these other kids had spent their childhood wrenching with their dad, and I had never done anything like that. I had a lot to learn, but I really quickly started to appreciate the world of automotives, not just for saving money, but also for working with my hands. Over time, I became friends with some of the shop kids, and there was one that stood out to me in particular. When I first got into that class, he never seemed to want to have anything to do with me. I must have worn him down though, because eventually we became good friends. We would screw around together in shop class, and after school, we'd even go get into trouble in our own personal cars, off-roading and things like that. He said something to me that stuck with me forever. One day, unprompted, he turned to me and told me that when he first saw me, he really didn't like me. He told me that when I walked into that classroom with my skinny jeans and my long hair, he could only think one thing. He said he didn't think he could have been friends with me because when I walked in, he thought I was well, I won't use the slur that he used, but suffice it to say that he only knew he could be friends with me when he found out I was dating a girl. That stuck with me. There was the obvious reason it stuck with me, which was that he couldn't be friends with me if I were gay. But there was another reason it stuck with me. It's true that at the time that he knew me in high school, I was dating a girl. But the thing is, there were also times in high school where I was dating boys. It was the luck of the draw that the person I happened to be dating at that time met his preconceptions and meant that he thought that he could be friends with me and that I deserved a spot in that classroom. It was a coin flip between him wanting me out of there and us becoming good friends. I've even had similar experiences here on YouTube. Now, there are people who just comment on my hair, which is pretty silly to me, but it does get a little worse than that. As you all know, whenever I'm talking about my significant other, I always refer to them as my partner. Because for us, that's the term that describes it the best. We're more than anything else, partners. I've had commenters on this channel tell me that when they first heard me using the term partner, they were pretty worried, but eventually they found out that my partner wasn't a male and they were relieved. This is the exact same sentiment that I experienced in high school. According to a certain number of people, whether I deserve a spot at the table or a view on YouTube apparently is dependent on the gender of the person that I'm dating. This is a type of gatekeeping that I have never understood. I think the fact that there's hate for LGBT individuals in this community and the fact that we're struggling to find people in the newer generation to fill these roles are related. The old guard won't stand guard forever. The graybeards eventually retire. And right now, for every 5 graybeards that are retiring, you only have 1 or 2 greenies to fill their shoes. This is a brain drain that is not sustainable. What this new generation demands is respect, regardless of their gender or sexuality. A lot of the newer generation does not feel like there is a place for them in the trades, and frankly, I don't really blame them. Many in the trades are openly hostile towards workers who demand respect. They're openly hostile to members of the LGBT community and other non-traditional workers. So these workers find jobs in other fields. In my opinion, the way that we stop this brain drain in the trades and the way that we better solve the complex problems that are facing our world today is to be more accepting and to be less hostile to those who are different. That's something that we could all do to help address this problem. You can be gay, bisexual, or transgender and still be a good welder or a good mechanic or a good construction worker. If you don't believe that, then just look at what I've managed to build in my garage. Somehow, being bisexual never stopped me from learning how to weld or learning how to machine or learning how to turn a wrench. No matter which side of this we fall on, we need to stop hating those who are different. June is Pride Month. I don't intend to have this channel turn political, and I don't intend on addressing this topic often. However, for Pride Month, you're gonna have to forgive me. Once a year, I need to take a stand for what I believe in. When I was a teenager, I barely had the strength to stand up for myself, but now as a secure adult, I think I have the strength to stand up for others, which means I have a responsibility to do so. I am fully aware that there may be backlash over this. I might lose subscribers. Hell, this video may kill my channel. People have been boycotted, slandered, stalked, and threatened over even daring to broach this subject. But that's not what is important to me. What's important to me is making sure that people like me know they have support, even in this field. This video is for the younger me. It's for the bisexual teenager working and living in rural Idaho and trying to get in a blue-collar job and all the self-hatred and confusion that that brings. This is for the teenagers struggling their way through high school and college, having to hide who they are because their friends and their family will not accept that part of themselves. If you're like me, I need you to know that even on the manufacturing room floor, and even in the machine shop, and even on the construction site, there are people who know what you're going through, and there are people who will stand with you. It gets better. There is not only a place for you in the trades, but also in this world. Thank you for being who you are. It takes all types. I hope that you, the viewer, agree and are willing to make the commitment to try and make the trades more accepting and open while we still have the chance. Thank you for watching. Let's get out there and build something.
Anyway, I just wanted to say thank you for being here. And places like this are the best places for me personally to go because I think it is so incredibly important. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. Y'all are locals, you live here, you understand how important visibility is. Understand how important community is. Uplifting each other and supporting one another. So thank you so much for having me. And I'll send your best to RuPaul, maybe not Michelle Visage, but you know, we'll see.